What's up?
All right, it's recording.
All right, well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Sports Wall. I am here with Don following the Green Bay Packers gut-wrenching defeat at San Francisco. Here with our instant reactions. We'll probably do a little bit deeper look later this week, but just wanted to get our first initial thoughts. I'm here with Don, and we may have another person or two join us later. But with that said, Don, I will kick it over to you and let you just take over. What are your initial thoughts?
I initially, right after the game, I think we easily could have won that game. Carlson missing the kick was huge, obviously, but is the moment too big for Jordan Love right now? The last couple drives, he seemed to miss some throws, and that last interception certainly felt a lot like the Oakland game all over again.
I mean, it wasn't an ideal throw. I would agree that those last couple drives, he didn't look as settled, as poised as he has it in recent weeks. I think one piece of that, I don't think he fully trusted his protection. After Zach Tom left the game, Yash Nyman has done a lot of good things for the Packers, but Yash Nyman and Rasheed Walker versus Nick Bosa and Chase Young, I think that gets inside your head. But
Yeah.
as far as that last the interception, as far as that goes, I mean that was just a terrible decision. I mean, late, crossed his body over the middle. Even if the guy was wide open, that's a difficult throw. But he was trying to throw it. He would have had to put another 20 yards on that ball to have a chance at it getting caught. And even then, there were three San Francisco defenders
Yeah.
there. So that was a poor decision. I think ultimately what this game, from a Packers standpoint, is going to be really remembered for is lost opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay had a lot of chances. I mean,
Papa
we
spin,
are
look at
visited
that.
with by spin and spin. We love it.
Hey, smells
Welcome,
like a
welcome,
rake in
guys.
here.
Had to know that was coming.
God damn it. Good to see you guys.
Good seeing
You
you,
too.
Papa.
I lost where I was, but I think some missed opportunities. Don, you mentioned Carlson's kick. Yeah, he'll get a lot of hate for that. I mean, there's a
I
missed
mean,
kick. It happens. San Francisco missed a kick as
the
well.
can I hold
We
on? The
Yep.
announcers saying that every time Carlson goes out there, Matt LaFleur is just hoping and praying is not a good sign.
No, it's certainly not. I would agree. I did catch that as well. But with that said, when it comes to Carlson, if you look at his numbers throughout the course of the year, he missed a lot of extra points, and they say he's missed more kicks than everybody
But that's
in the
including the extra
league.
points.
His field goal percentage was something like 82% over the course of the year. That's pretty good, right? I mean, he missed a kick. I mean, the ball looked like, the wind took it a little bit. He'll get hate for that. It's probably a little bit unfair because that's not why the Packers lost the game. They had plenty of opportunities.
Yeah,
After that Aaron
agree.
Jones run, they
Correct.
failed to. I
Yeah.
mean, they get another first down. It's a different situation. The first half, what, three trips into the red zone and 6 points. That's not a winning. It's not a winning formula against a team as good as San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
So right now it is painful. But had you told me before this game that we would hold San Francisco to 24 points and that we would have the ball down three with a minute left, I probably would have taken that. Cody,
Yeah.
I'll flip it over to you. Don gave his initial thoughts.
Well, it's a mixed bag on my end. Like, I feel a little guarded because the preconceived expectations coming in this year, especially coming in this playoff run, I mean, no one was we were
No,
hoping for everything, but no one was expecting anything.
Yeah.
Um, we beat Dallas. I mean, there was flaws there. I could have seen that win coming. This one, I didn't see us even being in the game, honestly,
me
as
either.
late as we were. Um, but it was just, like, to me in this game, it was just the plays that were left out on the field that we didn't make that were just there. Like Purdy was just throwing ducks. Like there was plays to be made out there that we just didn't make. I'm going to chalk it up to youth. I coming into the year, youth was a big factor, obviously. And between the kicking situation and just our pivotal like positional players, like youth was a big factor on where like we had concerns. And for most of the game, like we were there, like we were just making plays. But then at the biggest moments, they just did not make the plays that I think a more Middleton team would have made. And I think that's the frustration on my part. I'm ultimately I'm trying to temper my disappointment because there was no expectation.
Hard in the moment.
Yeah, but I'm in it right now. So like
exactly. In a week we'll look back and appreciate everything they did, but in the moment, yeah, man, it's a painful way to lose.
It felt like the moment was just too big for the team right now.
And I think the most frustrating part to me is we win this game. Like there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to the Super Bowl because we're beating the Lions or the Buccaneers. In my that's the frustrating part
of my mind.
You.
Almost like a team of destiny. If we would have won this game, it was like a team of destiny.
For sure. Right. I agree.
I mean, Cody, before you hopped on, one thing I had mentioned, and I want your thoughts. When we saw Zach Tom limp off, or actually, I think it was a concussion.
Concussion, and it was a couple plays
it
after
felt like
finally caught it.
It felt like that was when Love started to maybe press a little bit. It felt to me like that was when the pressure started to get to him. Exactly what I said to Don was suddenly it's Chase Young and Nick Bosa versus Rasheed Walker and Yosh Nijman. That's not an advantageous matchup. And I think that was in the back of Love's mind, especially the fourth quarter, especially.
No, I would agree with that. Minimally, I think the way you saw that play out is just the throws he started missing after that. Like he like the last 5 weeks, he was not missing the throws he missed before that point. Like there was the one over the middle that he missed by like I don't know 4 or 5 feet behind the tight end that got picked off. Yeah, exactly. And then there's the one later in the game for the first down.
Jones.
Exactly. Those were I think mentally that's where I think it started catching up with him, where he was just thinking about it a little bit. Yeah, and that last play, the pick. I think the thing that really rubs me the wrong way is Aaron Jones could have just cleared out. Like there was so much space for Aaron Jones. He just cleared out and loved. Oh man, that was frustrating.
Hindsight is 2020.
Well, and even when they showed the replay, there was 3 guys on, and what was that to Dobbs?
Watson.
That was to Watson. There was 3 guys there. There was 1 guy on Dobbs, I think, in the replay. Take our chances there instead of throwing it to Watson with 3 guys on him.
Yeah. Watson had a step, but I mean, he was running the exact opposite direction that Jordan Love was. That's not an easy throw to make.
No.
Just not a good decision. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess net, I'm like, you have to be excited for where we're at. Jordan Love's a dude. That was the number one question coming into the season is, do we have the quarterback or not? We know affirmatively the answer is yes.
I believe we do.
Was it frustrating the way it ended?
Speaking of Love,
it was.
You mentioned like Love has been making those throws the last few weeks, and I agree he has. But it always worries me when a quarterback lives and dies off his back foot and leaning back and things like that, because it's really easy for that to become inconsistent. And when your footwork gets just a little bit off, or maybe there's a little bit more pressure, you see things like what happened in the second half tonight, where Love just, to be frank, he struggled. And we saw the same with Purdy, struggled quite a bit in the second half, but for whatever reason, he pulled it together and he put together a nice drive to, take the lead with a minute left in the game. He made a couple of real nice throws on that drive.
And when Purdy was off,
number 20, he's got number 23 though too.
Purdy did not have a great day, I agree, but he got it done when it mattered.
Well, yeah, having Christian McCaffrey will help that.
Exactly.
True, but they didn't use McCaffrey the way they should have.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I love Shanahan. He is the best coach not the best coach. He's probably one of the best coaches in the NFL, but it blew
I
my
think he's the
mind.
best offensive mind in the NFL.
Yeah, agreed. It blew my mind on like the cracks that he was showing mentally in a big game.
I
Yeah.
I felt like losing Debo so early in that game really took him off his game. It felt like they had a really large package in place to use Debo to, keep the Packers off balance. And when he got hurt and couldn't come back in, it felt to me like Shanahan really struggled to adapt his offense to the personnel. I just didn't think he did a good enough job getting McCaffrey the ball as often as he should have, especially against this Packers defense that against the run this year. To say they've been poor might be overstating it. They've been
Did
a mess.
did Kenny Clark line up in the wrong spot? Like there was a hole right where they were running that ball before the ball was even snapped.
You never know, right? Like there's a reason they align themselves the way they do. Kenny Clark, maybe he was in the right spot and had a job to push into where that hole was. The linebacker should have came in and filled. It's without being in the defensive meeting rooms, you never know that. So it's hard to tell.
Are you talking the last touchdown?
Yeah.
I honestly, like, that was probably a net positive for us to let them score as quickly as we did to give us a chance.
In the long run,
like,
yeah.
I agree.
That was fine
Yeah.
in my opinion. That was a Belichickian move.
If they're going to score,
if
they're going to score a touchdown, yeah, let them score soon. But ideally, stop them on downs.
Let's be honest though, they were definitely scoring either way. Like
it's likely. Yeah,
it was first down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they had 5 yards to go, and yeah, they were probably getting in the end zone. I thought LaFleur should have used a timeout to play before that, saved 40 seconds. But
speaking of timeouts, what the hell was Shanahan doing at the end of the first half?
Yeah, that was strange. That was strange. It was like he didn't have faith in his offense. It was 3rd and 2, and he let 40 seconds run off and called that timeout on the 40-yard line or something like that.
Yeah,
that was I don't know what he was thinking. That was a strange decision. That was a strange decision to me. Cody, you are muted. There we go.
Yeah, that was one of the cracks I was talking about. Like, I think he melted pretty big time in that moment. Like, for as good as of a coach he is, like, you need to know that down and distance in that situation. Like, you had 2nd or 3rd and short from your 40.
Yeah.
And you had 2 timeouts. What's the worst that can happen if you don't pick it up?
They had 3 timeouts.
You punt. Green Bay probably has to go 90 yards in a minute.
Are you that worried that Jordan Love's going to drive it 70 yards for a field goal in 30 seconds? So, like, what are you worried about in that situation?
Green Bay had 6 points at the time. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was an unusual decision, but I mean, there's a reason he gets paid more than I do.
And I don't think the refs costed us the game, but they were horrible again tonight.
They made some weird things in the first half. On that, when the Packers had that 3rd and 1 and got stopped on 4th down, I thought the 3rd down play, they spotted that half a yard short of where it should have been. And then the tush push, the love shove play, it's a far more effective play from 18 inches than it is from 36 inches. So you get that spot right, you're in better shape. But then on the sneak, I thought he got the 1st down. There was definitely no. I don't think there was necessarily a clear angle. It sure looked to me like he got the 1st down, but I felt like it would have been worth LaFleur throwing the flag in that situation.
Well, I believe the announcers at least insinuated that every 4th down, like if they go for it, is reviewed.
I mean, technically it's a turnover, so maybe I don't know.
That's the way the announcers put it. That it would get checked. Whether or not, and then the intentional grounding that wasn't intentional grounding, the play before the touchdown to Kittle.
I thought that was, I definitely thought that was, but again, like like you said, the referees did not cost the Packers this game. They may have made some things more difficult, but they didn't cost them the game. Green Bay's inability to capitalize when they had opportunities. They dropped 2 interceptions.
For sure.
They, over 3 in the red zone in the first half, missed a field goal, tried to give it away on the long punt return, but props to Eric Wilson. I mean, I told you guys in the chat how impressed I was with the fumble recovery, and then Greg Olsen came on and so talked about how impressive the fumble recovery was. They got
When he-
I mean
when
they got a couple breaks. I mean, they
Yeah.
Did
definitely
anyone
got a
know
couple
Eric
breaks.
Wilson's name before the game tonight?
I did,
I'm going to be
yes.
honest, I did not.
I did know his name, yes.
Oh, 45.
I wouldn't have been able to I wouldn't have been able to tell you 45 is Eric Wilson, but I did know his name.
Yeah, man. As soon as he cut back, I'm like, oh crap, something bad's gonna happen here on this one. And oh
He runs loose with the ball. I mean,
yeah,
he's
he's a
dynamic
playmaker
and
though. But
explosive, but
yeah,
he runs loose with the ball for
yeah,
sure. Reminds me of I mean, any DB when they catch a interception, they tend to be I'm always just like, hold on to the football
yeah,
because they always just tend to be loose with the ball. But yeah, I thought the biggest things were obviously just inability to capitalize. I think that Zach Tom injury hurt a lot more
Definitely.
than it than we maybe realize. That was I really was worried when he went out. And yeah, I mean, at this right now, it's just it's painful. It's
yeah.
painful. Take a
For,
week or two. Well, maybe probably after the Super Bowl until I can finally look back and just say this was a great season because I mean, I think you have to consider it a successful season, and we'll get more into that in a later podcast.
I
But
think it's a
in the
win.
moment, it hurts.
I think it's just a win. Just watching Big Cat's Twitter timeline and seeing how much he was in pain all day today, and then all of a
Let's
sudden,
avoid giving any Bears fans airtime on this
all
podcast.
right, all right. I mean, at least he is a Badger, so
That's true.
I will say my initial goal coming to this year was to be better than the Bears because I didn't have a lot of high hopes. Like
Yeah.
if we're talking
I
about
thought we would be better than
preseason
the Bears.
expectations.
I thought we'd be better than the
I mean,
Bears, but
at
I
2
didn't
and
think
5,
we'd
I
be.
wasn't sure.
I mean, the
No,
Bears were, I think, 1-6 at that point, weren't they?
Yeah, our October swoon was real though. Like we looked
Oh, it was
so
horrible.
bad in October.
It was horrible.
But
It was
I
horrible
guess
in
that's the more
October.
impressive part is to get to this point after looking so bad.
Well, I mean, it's not like it was just a straight, linear, well, elliptic curve upwards. I mean, it was a lot of this, right? Like
Yeah,
started nicely. October was terrible. November went spiked. Beginning in December was terrible.
yeah.
The losses to the Buccaneers and the Giants and
Giants.
and that
Cardinals game and
disaster,
then the
near
Panthers game.
disaster against Carolina. I mean, this was an inconsistent team all year. Second half of the year, the offense was a lot more consistent. The defense was pretty poor, but tonight the defense for the most part showed up. I mean, 24 points on the road and against the number one seed in the divisional game. That's a pretty good performance. They just
Yeah.
ran out of gas. I mean, we don't have the horses to match up with
Golden
San
question.
Francisco.
Was
Joe
this
Barry?
enough to save Joe Barry's job?
I don't know, man.
I'm hoping he sees a pink slip tonight on the airplane on his seat.
I think we all are. We're all hoping for that.
I don't know. I feel like he's going to be back, but I don't
Same.
think that his scheme does not match with our personnel.
Our run fits were
In
just
my
not good this
opinion.
year.
I'm sorry.
Our run fits were just not good this year.
Well,
I just-
that's because he doesn't care about the run. He'd rather get death by 1,000 cuts than get beat over the top. So he plays that over the top coverage. I mean, our the numbers against the pass are pretty good, but that's because teams can run the ball so effectively against us.
Well, that's
I've
like
also seen way too much nickel defense inside the 5-yard line where I'm just kind of over it.
I mean, I think I read something on the Athletic where they sort of did a dive into that, and it was, I mean, Green Bay, it was really a pick your poison thing today because you play nickel against the 49ers normal personnel, and McCaffrey is probably going to run all over you. But if you
Sure.
bring in that extra linebacker and play base, now you got those weapons all on the outside. McCaffrey can obviously split out. I mean, it's a pick your poison.
Today
It's
is
a
a
tough
different
one.
scenario. The rest of the season
Yeah.
is the indictment that I'm kind of hanging my head on.
That's true. I mean, you have to go back and evaluate the entire body of work,
I mean,
right?
Mike
Not
McCarthy kept his
just
job.
today, not even just this year. But I
Yeah.
think McCarthy should have kept his job personally.
Well,
But
that's kind
that's
of
a
the
different
point I'm
story.
making. That's kind of the point I'm making. Like the whole media is out to get Mike McCarthy for looking horrible in one game, whereas
Yep.
the body of his work was good enough to keep his job.
I mean, That's the thing with Barry. Like they had a early in the season, the defense kept Packers in games
Yeah.
while Love and those young receivers were trying to figure it out. And LaFleur was trying to figure it out, quite frankly, because he completely changed the way he called games about midway through. But I don't. We'll see. We'll see. I would like to become a more aggressive defense. I would like to get a coordinator that is willing to do that.
We gotta play
I,
downhill.
Yes.
what's that?
We
No,
gotta
not
play
at all.
downhill. Yeah.
Not at all. And I mean, I think Quay Walker could be. I don't want to say he couldn't. I don't think he can be Fred Warner, but he could be that style of player, that sideline to sideline downhill type of player. And it doesn't seem like they give him a chance to be. I
Is
think Campbell's probably gone.
I was gonna say, is Campbell still under contract next year or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think he got a 5-year deal.
Okay. Yeah,
But I did
Campbell and
look.
Walker, I don't know if they're the answer in the middle for us right now.
I think Walker can be a good player. I think
He's
Campbell's
athletic.
got
He
a
just
big
doesn't know
cap
where he is half
number.
the time.
That's the hard. This is third year or second
Yeah,
year,
this was
third
his
year.
third year. This was his third year here.
So
He had a really good first year. The last two have not been great. He had a really good contract year, and then
this is like
yeah,
Campbell
hasn't
too.
hasn't played that well. I mean, I don't remember what his cap number is off the top of my head, but I do
Well, it's
believe
still a
there's
rookie
a.
contract, so it's not like it's that bad. I would.
Oh, I'm talking Campbell.
Oh, Campbell.
I'm talking Campbell. Campbell. I think they can save a couple million by cutting him. I'd have to pull it up on Sport Track, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. But I think there's a decent chance he's gone. But
Talking
I mean,
Quay though.
we're getting ahead of ourselves
Oh,
with all
yeah.
that kind
Well,
of
I mean,
stuff.
what's there to look forward to now? The draft?
I mean, that's where we're at.
Yeah,
I mean, we just
exactly.
lost. We're out. We're looking forward. I mean, I'm not trying to drive this podcast, but I think that's where we're at right now.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't want to feel like one of them freaking Bears fans.
He's got a
Next year
We
Campbell's
have way
got
more hope than they do.
we always will. Well, they have the opportunity to make some
They do.
legitimate big
What
time
have they ever done
changes.
with that opportunity?
I don't know. If they pass on Caleb Williams, they deserve everything that's coming to him.
I'm like 40% that they might. Like they definitely should not. I'm with you. Caleb Williams is going to be a fucking dude, but they might.
Yep, they might.
it feels like the media is like all of a sudden flip 50-50 on Caleb, like whether or not he's going to be good or not.
I don't.
That's because that's what media does, though.
That's true.
Like they take the biggest prospect and they try to poke holes. Like if you honestly evaluate Caleb Williams' college career, there is nothing you can really like
He's
have
unbelievable.
a fault with.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, going back to Campbell, I looked up on Spotrac. He's got 2 years left. Next year he's got a $12 million cap hit with $8 million dead cap.
Okay, so they could save $4 million by cutting him.
Yeah.
What's his contract the next year?
The following year is 12 mil. Same. He gets
lower.
12.5 mil and then 4 mil or 4 mil dead cap.
Okay. So yeah, so I mean they could get rid of him. Would you be able to upgrade the position with that $4 million? I don't know.
For
maybe,
as much,
maybe not.
For
What's
as much cap spaces as you think we would have next year, we don't have much at all.
Bakhtiari's got a $40 million cap hit.
And then Jordan Love's going to cost us a boatload of money too if we sign him.
Yeah,
that's going to be a net neutral with Rodgers' money falling off, though.
I mean, Bakhtiari, I think there's no way Bakhtiari's back at that cap number.
Well, there's
put
no
it that way.
Playing next year.
I mean, yeah, if he can't play, they'll cut him. I mean, they save like 19 million, I think, if they cut him. But there's no way he's back at that cap number. I don't have an issue bringing him back. When he plays, he's a good player, but that's got to be a very, very, very incentive heavily playing time based incentives type of contract.
Yeah. Well,
if he can play at all.
You guys got any more thoughts on the game itself?
I mean, I'm just in pain.
Yeah. Drink it away.
I mean, on the game itself, not really. I had zero expectations on the season coming in. we were playing with house money on this playoff run. We were in the throes of the game and we felt like it was there. And then that's
It
why
was
it's
there.
painful. And it definitely was. And that's why it's painful. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Mhm.
keep it in the bigger perspective of things on what our expectations were. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to get myself to a place where it's fine. But this is the only time in the Jordan Love run where we're not going to have expectations. And I'm trying to
That's
just keep
very true.
that framework.
Yeah. Valid.
That is a very good point.
And
I'm not used to living with no expectations of the Packers. I mean, since I've been 6 years old, they've been Super Bowl contenders.
I was gonna say, and does that make it worse next year when we have the expectation to go to the playoffs and then he throws a dud of a season?
I mean,
It will. If that
this-
happens, it will.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, in this situation, it's easier to, let it go a little bit. But, when you have those expectations and they don't meet them, yeah, it hurts. I mean, look
Yeah.
at Bears fans.
Did anybody hit any bets today? I know McCaffrey ended up 2 yards short of 100 yards.
I missed a fucking bunch of bets. I
No,
did not have a
the
Jay
good
over
day.
Reed
didn't
could have
hit.
scored a touchdown. I'll say that because that would have been very nice for me.
What's that?
I
I had a Lamar Jackson, Jaden Reed touchdown parlay.
Oh.
So if Jaden Reed could have scored, that would have been really nice.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, I hit
He's the
I
Niners
hit
under
a
2.5
Lamar
though.
Jackson one. I lost a bunch in the Packer game. Yeah, it wasn't a good day. Hopefully, I'll have a better day
Overtime would
tomorrow.
have been great for my overs parlay. I had over in the Baltimore game and over in the Packer game. So overtime would have been great.
Yeah, you went 0 for
Is it-
2.
The Baltimore hit. It was 44.
I thought it was 44. I missed I
No,
must have missed
They hit a field goal right after the 2-minute warning.
Oh, I had turned it off before that.
Yeah.
I assumed it was.
Overtime would have been real nice for the
Yeah,
over
you're
in the
right.
Packer game because that would have hit then.
Maybe.
Well, it would have been
If the-
24-24. It was 50 and a half.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right. Overtime would have.
So-
Yep.
That would have hit my then I would have hit my McCaffrey over and the Packer game over because he had 98 yards. Fucker couldn't get 2 more yards.
I mean, most of my bets were run on the assumption that McCaffrey would slice through the Packers,
Same.
and I expected Kittle. I mean, Kittle had a decent day. I expected him to have a bigger day, though.
Yeah. Well, Kenny Clark certainly tried to make his life miserable the next few days because it looked like he was giving a beating to McCaffrey.
Kenny
Can I
Clark,
make one side note?
Yeah,
Can we talk about Rashawn Gary for a second?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Rashawn Gary? Because
I think Rashawn Gary is a great player. He definitely, but at this point in his career, he's definitely still a little bit of a one-trick pony. I mean, I feel like
Same.
he is a bull rusher,
Got a
and
hell of a
he
motor.
needs to come up with some move going to the left and some move going to the right off of that bull rush.
he gets stalled way too often.
Yep. I mean, he does a great job pushing his tackle back into the backfield, but you gotta disengage and you gotta mix it up at some point, right? Because otherwise you're counting on the quarterback either trying to roll towards you or step up right inside you. And it's just a challenge. To be honest, I'm not particularly worried about Rashawn Gary. He sets the edge pretty well. I think he will develop that. I mean, he's a freak athlete.
We just need more pressure out of him.
Yeah.
They need more. I agree. They need more pressure at everybody. But that that can make the run defense even worse than it already is.
That's
right?
fair. I mean, look at the Cowboys. Look at Micah Parsons. I mean, that's why their run defense wasn't great. Honestly, like that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, our team is not built like Dallas, right? Like Dallas, you look at their offense and you would just expect them to score a ton of points. So you expect their edge rushers to be getting a ton of opportunities. It works great in the regular season, but when you run up against, better teams, it can be a challenge. And
I just wanted to ask the question because I have a lot of family and friends that sing the praises of Rashawn Gary, and I'm just not sold. Like I find myself more frustrated with him generally than I am more than any other emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think I still have faith that he's going to be a great player in the green and gold. He really needs to develop some type of pass rush moves off of that bull rush because he's a great bull rusher. He drives that tackle back constantly,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that can't be your one move.
we'll wrap this up here. We'll look forward to the draft. What do you guys think the biggest need is in the first round of the draft?
Best player available.
Status quo?
I mean, I think that's the only way to draft. If you
Yeah.
don't pick the best player available, you're letting a team that's already better than you draft a better player than you're
All
picking.
right, all right. Let me phrase
And
it this way.
if you don't want to, let me just finish the thought. If
Yep.
you don't want to pick the guy who is the best player available, you need to move to where the value meets the need. Because otherwise you're leaving value out there.
Okay. So let me phrase it this way. What's our biggest need heading into the offseason then? Pass rush or offensive line?
I would say offensive
Secondary.
line.
I think it's secondary.
I would say secondary's up there. I think it's offensive line is a bigger need than secondary.
I feel
It
like you
also
can find the O
depends.
line later though.
That's true. That's true. They often
We've had
do.
success doing that in the draft before.
But I mean, I would love to see them find a premium left tackle
I mean, it's not too
picking at
often.
25 or something. They're probably not gonna, but that's what I would like to see. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about who's available. Secondary, yeah, maybe.
We
I could
haven't
see
really
that. I
taken many
mean,
secondary first round picks lately, so
yeah,
why
no
don't we take
shit.
a
I mean, Stokes will be back. I'm not sold on Stokes. I think he's a great athlete, average corner.
Yeah.
He's never proven he can be healthy. I mean,
That's
that's
true.
a big
Exactly.
thing.
Well,
I want to make one point about Goody, if I can.
yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of talk about this is Goody's master plan. And the thing that drives me crazy about that comment is Goody did not believe in this team either because he wouldn't have traded Rasul Douglas in week 7 if he thought that this is where we were going to be at this point.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But
I
to
mean,
be fair,
at the time,
they were 2-5.
Yeah.
Or whatever they were, right?
I
Like
agree.
Who believed in them at that
Yeah.
point?
I
Like
agree. I just want the plaudits
for
to
the
be
future.
deafened a little bit.
I
So,
posed
I
the
mean,
question earlier before you got in the chat. How funny would it have been if the Packers beat the Bills in the Super Bowl and we traded Rasul Douglas to the
that would have
Bills?
been awesome.
What kind of
I mean,
emotions are you going through as Rasul Douglas? Hi, Rachel.
Hey, Donnie. Hey, Rank.
I think you need to. I think Goody deserves a lot of credit for, especially for the last 2 draft classes. I mean, he's hit on a lot of players, but your point absolutely stands because he did not expect it this year. But nobody expected it this year. I mean, you would have
No,
looked at
we're a
this and
year early
figured this
for
team
sure.
is at least
Yeah,
a
for
year,
sure.
maybe 2 ahead of
He's hit
schedule.
on a lot of guys. He may have, but that 2020 draft, unless Jordan Love becomes a Hall of Famer, that draft class was the absolute shit.
Ted Thompson's last couple of draft classes were not good.
Because Jordan Love
His
is
last
the
couple were
only
bad.
thing that can save that draft class.
Goody's first couple were really bad. Like there was like a 6-year period there where it was pretty rough.
I think there are, if I could be mistaken, but I believe there are only 2 players left on that draft, on the team from that draft.
From 2020?
Love and AJ Dillon. And Dillon's going to be gone after this season.
Yep. Running back's another position of need in the draft, but that's
So-
one that you can definitely draft later.
So we agree we need to re-sign Aaron Jones. Yeah, we're all in agreement on that.
He is signed, isn't he?
He needs to be back next year. Like, no question.
Yes.
Like I love Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones loves Green Bay. I would love to see him be like Donald Driver and spend his entire career here. I don't know that it's realistic, but I would love that. But
after
absolutely, he is their most important piece, not in the quarterback position.
If the last 4 months are any indication, when we finally started to use him for the first time in his career over the last 4 weeks, obviously
first time in his
part of
career.
our team.
This was McCarthy's plan. That was McCarthy's plan all
Saving
along.
for 2024.
He played the long game against himself. He saved him to beat himself.
All right. Rank, you want to wrap it up?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, this has been the Sports Wall. Thanks for joining in, listening, and watching. Hope you guys enjoy, and we'll maybe come back again later next week, middle of the week or something like that, and after a time to reflect, we'll get back. Thanks for tuning in.